everything that the audiences have loved about the show we've retained, even though it starts in a similar zone that you've seen. It's slowly but surely ventures into a different world altogether, which is new for not just the audiences but also Abhay as the character. And I definitely, as an actor, also I feel that I've matured a little bit. I feel a lot more therav in my performances, of my understanding of a character. As a 21-year-old boy, maybe I would not understand what a 30-year-old would feel or what a family man would feel. I have a partner, I have a daughter, I have my friends and my family that I can fall back on. I really believe that if you have that support system in your life which is strong, then you can get through the worst of the situations in life.
So, hi Kunal, welcome to ETimes. It's been very long and it's so good to see you here. How are you doing?
Same here, man. Same here. I'm doing well, touchwood. I hope you are too.
Yes, I am. The good news is Abhay season 3 is coming up and we can't wait for it. I saw the glimpses of the trailer, okay? I got some glimpses out of it. And I must say, you have taken it up a notch, okay? It's really amazing to see that. I know we can't talk much about it, but I want to know what can we expect from Abhay 3 this. Let's start with that.
Well, it's definitely exciting. It's definitely gritty. And we've kind of ventured into some crimes and a world that we haven't kind of gotten into season 1 and season 2. So there is some novelty to that. Everything that the audiences have loved about the show, we've retained. But when they're going to come back to watch a new season, they want to see something new, and that's why it's a new season. Otherwise, it can get repetitive, and we don't want to be in a place where audiences are like, "Ab wahi chal raha hai." The intent was to kind of do that, and that's why even though it starts in a similar zone that you've seen, it's slowly but surely ventures into a different world altogether, which is new for not just the audiences but also Abhay as the character. So the stakes have been kind of heightened a bit. There was a season hook in season 2 which we left at where Khushbu finds
Right.
ways into the case of Natasha's so-called accident, and also Sonam goes missing. So on those parts, his personal life, the stakes are rising, and in his external world, the new villains that kind of are introduced in form of amazing actors like Vidya Malvade and
Yes.
Vijay Raj and
Yes, that
Rahul
brings me to
Dev.
my next question. We're gonna see some talented people joining Abhay 3 as well. Vijay Raj, Rahul Dev, and Vidya Ma'am is also there. We learned that they're gonna play an antagonist just to say, all right, and they're gonna make your life very difficult. Abhay's life very difficult. I know you can't talk much about it, but give us some insight about it. Tell us what can we see about what can we see here?
I think that one of the best things about Abhay is that it's the villains that make the show work because they're the highlight of the show. And we've been lucky enough to not just get great actors to play those parts, but also get actors who are not really associated with that image. Be it Deepak Tijori in season 1 or Ram Kapoor and Chunky Pandey in season
That was
2,
refreshing to see.
which is just a complete opposite of how you've seen them. Actually, I think starting with me, because I've just done so many comedies, but for me
Yes.
to come and play Abhay is also in itself such a different thing. Similarly, in this case, Vijay Raj, Rahul Dev, Vidya Malvade, even Divya Agarwal and Tanuj Irvani, they're all kind of doing something which Tanuj, maybe, yes, he's done a little bit in that, but what he's doing in this is kind of pushing that to another level altogether. So it's been lovely to firstly know that these are the people who are going to come together and make this show. So you get excited about that. Unfortunately for me, I don't get an opportunity to work with them so much on the show because their tracks are separate to mine. So we only cross paths. So I have very few scenes with them. But nonetheless, meeting them and doing those parts, I have a little more to do with Vijay Raj in this show, and it was lovely because after Loot Case and playing those two different characters to coming here and playing completely two different characters, it was lovely for us both to kind of jam on the scenes that we did together. So yeah, I'm excited about people also watching them in these new avatars and hopefully enjoying Abhay for what it is.
But Kunal, like you said, you've done so many different characters. Vast, I know you're a versatile actor. We all know that. But Vijay Pratap Singh, Abhay Pratap Singh, I'm really sorry. It has a mind of a criminal, right? And it stops at nothing to do and solve the cases. I want to know. I see some shades of gray also. It has a lot of shades of gray in your character. I want to know, how does one prepare? Like, gets in that frame of mind, how easy it is for you to like switch it on and switch it off? Like, how do you do that?
I generally have been a switch on, switch off kind of a guy, an actor at least, not a guy. That would be really scary to be. But as an actor, it's very important to kind of be in that place. Otherwise, you do kind of, I mean, you do take away something from the characters that you play, right? And so if you, it can get tough to, you'll consume a lot of time otherwise first getting into it and then getting out of it to kind of do something in your normal life. So I am generally that, but I mean, even having said that, this show and the crimes that it deals with and the world that it gets into is pretty heavy. But I think because it's the third season, I think it's become slightly more clinical for me also, because I've played this part and I've done these kind of things. So I think it's like a doctor, you've handled so many patients and you've seen so much blood and things, so it doesn't kind of bother you so much. But even then, I mean, it takes a bit of a prep, and I think Abhay's character in general was so intriguing and interesting for me as an actor, because everybody in normal life has a bit of gray in them. Uh, and I can imagine somebody like him, who's an officer, has that job and works in those conditions. He has to, at some point, think like a criminal to be able to understand what this criminal is going to do. And that's what was the most intriguing part for me to play this character, because he's not just your average hero white guy who's just going to go against what is wrong and solve it. He does think like a human being, and he does make mistakes, and he is flawed as a human being. He has a traumatic personal life that he's also dealing with. So it's a very interesting character. He's an insomniac who doesn't sleep.
Okay, so if I have to ask, like, do you have any rituals before you get into this character? Do you have any kind of rituals that you do? Anything?
Oh, I look forward to that haircut, because he's got that hairstyle, right? So
Okay.
I know that he has to look the same, because also the timeline is the same. And I mean, a lot of people think it's boring, especially every time you have a costume meeting, and that's what I love about that character. And I keep fighting. Then I feel like, no, I want to wear this one black shirt, I want to wear this one brown shirt, and these two pants, and that's it. And I look forward to wearing that kada and dressing up as Abhay, because in movies you live a character and then the film is over and then it's done with, right? Unless there is a sequel that happens. But here, not only are you doing episode and episode and episode and 8 episodes in one season, but multiple seasons. So you're growing personally, and at the same time you want to grow this fictional character and come back and play him. So I really look forward, and I feel excited to play Abhay.
All right, Kunal, if I have to tell you, right, I've seen you from the days of your child actor, then your big Bollywood debut. Now you're a family man with a beautiful daughter. I want to know how does this companionship supports you as an actor? How important it is to have a companionship and a family and a support. How have you changed from the time that you were and now? What's changed?
I think it's the most important thing in anybody's life, when it comes to family and relatives or a close knit friend circle. That is the most important thing, because that's what keeps you sane here and here, right? And if this is not at peace, then it doesn't matter if you have the riches in life, or you think you've got the dream job that you're enjoying. Of course, that's important, but that's a part of your life. So it's very important to invest and know that, because while your exterior professional life can go through ups and downs, you can still handle that if your core, if you're everybody, since you're growing up, they say base strong but now. If your base is strong, then you can handle something. So I think for emotional support, it's very important to be there. I'm very happy and I'm very blessed, and I consider myself very lucky to at least be in that place in life where I'm I have a partner, I have a daughter, I have my friends and my family that I can fall back on. Even if it doesn't mean that I actually have to pick up the phone on them or physically go and say that, oh, please help me or support me. And that's why I really believe that if you have that support system in your life, which is strong, then you can get through the worst of the situations in life.
True, that's very true. So if I have to ask you as a transition as an actor from the time you started until now, what has changed in those terms?
I mean, you definitely evolve. I mean, you grow up as a human being, and there are so many things that happen in your life, which anyways you'll also see that even as a person 5 years ago, or just the lockdown in itself, because you've been doing so much introspection, you'll see certain changes in your life that automatically happen. It's a process of growing up. I definitely, as an actor also, I feel that I've matured a little bit. I feel a lot more therav in my performances, of my understanding of a character. As a 21-year-old boy, maybe I would not understand what a 30-year-old would feel or what a family man would feel.
Right.
But when you're actually going through your experiences, and I think that's what a part of acting is also kind of borrowing from your personal life. Not always. Sometimes you have to just create a fictional world, but it always helps to kind of borrow from that. So I think as an actor, I've grown as much as I have as a person.
All right, I also want to talk to you about OTT as well, right? We've seen this wave of cinema that's been happening in our country right now. There's no more Tamil, there's no more Telugu, there's no more Bhojpuri cinema. It's just united at one, and we have a complete one cinema right now. Tell me, how does it make you feel to be a part of this wave and riding this wave? How do you enjoy this one right now?
I think it's an amazing place to be in, man. I was just saying this to somebody, and it's so amazing that you can't plan anything because anything can happen at any time. So a lot of us spend a lot of time trying to strategize and plan things that are really not in our control. And I've always believed that the only thing that I'm barely in control is myself. I don't think I'm in 100% control of myself also. So this is the only person I can work on, right? And the pandemic and the OTT boom, and like you said, there is no this cinema, that cinema. It's just one thing. It's entertainment and stories that we want to tell. And if language was the only barrier stopping us, we're finding ways to kind of work around that also. So of course, it is an exciting time for everybody who's a creative person, not just actors, technicians, directors, producers, writers, more so writers, I feel, because now it's their playing field. And if you have great content, hopefully people will find it. And it does not matter where you belong, if you're the biggest fish in the pond or you're in the smallest pond in the neighborhood. If you're good at what you do, it might take time, but people will find it, and your voice will be heard.
Yeah, that's bringing me to my next question. I also wanted to see, you've been in the industry for so long. You've seen the changes in the industry, right? Do you think that there used to be a power structure in the industry right now that's demeaning right now due to the arrivals of OTT, or is it still there, but it's like slowly?
Well, it'll always be, the dynamics will shift, but there will always be people who will be in a position of power. Sometimes some more than the others, and then sometimes those others more than this. But I don't think that should. I mean, it does matter when the level, when the playing field is small. Like, if there is one well and you have 100 fish in that, it's going to be traumatic. But if you have an ocean, you can put 1 million there, and there'll be place for everybody. So I think what the OTTs help with more so is it's taken off the stress from everybody, from the point of that there are only so many theaters with only so many show times. And the power of money makes sure that you get more visibility, more posters, so people are more aware. But the OTT has given you the thing of that when you open an app, all of them are there together.
Right.
So when you go to films, all the films will be there. It won't matter which is a Dharma film or which is an independent producer film or which is a Yash Raj film or XYZ. Yeah. They're all there, and you can make up your own mind and give everything a shot. So that kind of somewhere it's helped everybody else to kind of find a voice. But having said that, I don't know if it's a good thing and if it's the thing of the future and if it will remain to be as unbiased as it is today.
Exactly right. Like you said, Kunal, do you think we are still fairly new in terms of the OTT as a platform right now, and it needs some filtration, and we need to see what kind of content we are putting out, because there are vast content, it's a pool of content that we have to choose from, and somewhere we are getting reckless with it. Do you believe that?
So I don't even know if a comment that I make today, which I think is right, might be my point of view in the next few months.
Yeah.
It's like, when the television started, there used to be one channel. And then some people said there's going to be a boom. There are going to be 100 of channels on TV, and TV is the next thing. And people are like, what are you talking about? And then there were like 500 channels. And then everybody was like, well, this is it. And then when the OTT started, everybody said, this is just a bubble. It's going to burst. And now I don't know. There are so many people who don't have television anymore. They just have a stick or a box, which has platforms. And there are so many more players that are coming into this platform world. So for me to say, this is it, and there's nothing else, is going to be like saying that VHS tape ke baad kuch nahi aane wala hai. Yeah, VCD is the future. Yeah. Where are those DVDs? Where are those Blu-rays? It's all gone, right? So I don't know. I'm just saying that I'm very happy being in a time where I am selfishly able to tell the stories or do the parts that make me happy. There will be no end to ambition and greed. You'll always want to do better. But I'm very happy in this space and time doing stuff that makes me happy, that makes my audience happy. So right now I want to enjoy that.
All right. Kunal, the good news is also cinemas have opened up right now, and we have to bring
Yes.
the cinema going experience back to it. I want to ask you, like, what it will take for us to get the audience back to cinema. Do you believe that we need to make some extraordinary content for people to drive to cinema right now and bring that cinema going experience back?
Again, we're such a big society and we're so different in so many ways. It'll depend what each individual person feels. I feel that cinemas, nobody can replace the experience of sitting in that big room with friends, family, or even strangers. But the effect a cinema has on you, I don't. If cinemas didn't exist, I'm not sure if I would want to be an actor. Uh, because I remember what it felt like to whistle. But that also has changed, right? It was a different experience when we were growing up to go to Chandan, Gaiety Galaxy, or Regal, or Eros, or even Jaya Talkies in Borivali and watch a film, and then to watch a film sitting in a Fame Ad Labs or a PVR, it's very different. The culture is different. Even today, you go and watch an action film in Gaiety and you watch it in a multiplex. I promise you, you must know the experience is completely different. So I don't know where that's going to go. So, but one thing that I know for sure is spectacle films will always be watched. I missed the last Spider-Man and I refuse to watch it on TV.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no, this will just take away the whole experience. I want to watch it in a theater or even a Bahubali for that matter, right? I regret not being able to watch the first one in a theater because I just did not know. And again, like you said, at that point it would be a dub film. I didn't know whatever.
Yeah.
So there are certain films that you'll automatically want to go, at least for me. And at the same time, I feel community film watching experiences are like films like Golmaal, for example.
Right.
Those are ones that you'll enjoy with your friends. So you might still make a plan saying that नहीं यार चल सब लोग साथ में जाके देखते हैं क्योंकि 25 दोस्त एक घर में एक टीवी पे उसको शायद नहीं enjoy कर पाएंगे. And I feel that some films also deserve that. And especially in the genre of comedy, because humor, like I really, I mean, as much as I'm happy about Loot Case being watched so widely on the on the screens everywhere in everybody's houses, I feel that I missed out on the opportunity of watching 500 people sitting together, and because laughter is infectious, right? And in different theaters I've seen earlier in comedies, like different places, you don't expect them to laugh, but they're laughing, they're having such a good time.
Right.
So I miss that, and I hope that there are films which are meant for the theaters, and I hope that they find an audience there. But then there are films that I think would not be made if it was only theaters.
We want cinema to be back, and we all love cinema going experience. That's true. That's true. That brings me to our last question. They're saying me to ask you last question right now. Tell me, what's your Holi plan right now? We all want to know what's Kunal gonna do on Holi.
I used to play a lot of Holi as a kid, man. But I mean, I now very much like to watch from my balcony and see others enjoy playing Holi. I'm not big on Holi playing myself, but I wish everybody a happy Holi, and I really wish that they're very careful of what they're doing, because we've just gone through something in the last 2 years. So do not jeopardize anybody's safety, and just enjoy it for what it is and have a happy Holi.
Okay, before I let you go, I'm just gonna sneak one question. What's happening with Golmaal and what's happening with Go Go Gone? Everyone's asked me to ask you this question. Let's put it up.
It's the same answer. I don't know.
I remember asking you this one last time as well.
I know. Like, and I maintain I didn't know then. I don't know now.
All right, but it's so good to talk to you, man. Best of luck for Abhay. We will chat soon. Best of luck, Kunal, and thank you for chatting with me.
Thank you, man. Thanks.
See you. Bye bye.